This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all,
just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
We got Steph Jones on the panel. There we go. All right. Welcome again. For weeks now, student protests at college campuses around the nation have made national news. Police have broken up pro-Palestinian encampments at universities from coast to coast, and nearly 3,000 students have been arrested. Then this weekend, headlines like these dominated the news. Duke students walk out of Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech. All these things went off. Well, here's video of that student walkout. And as you can see, it was like a handful of students, right? It wasn't like a huge majority. They walked out, leaving the vast majority of the senior class still in attendance. So I wanted to ask you, was that the impression that you got after reading these headlines? Probably not. And is this leading some people to ask, is the media overhyping these student protests? Well, if you talk to Bill Maher, he says they are. Take a look.
It's time for the media to admit that they blew the whole thing way out of proportion, because as always with media these days, they don't cover what's most important, just what's most fun to watch. There are 15.2 million college students in the U.S., and 2,300 have been arrested. That's 1/67th of 1%. We were given the false impression that these protesters are the voice of their generation, having found a cause for which they were willing to go to the tents and to the barricades. Oh, please, these kids are more violent when their team wins a championship.
What do we think about that? Jeff, you were nodding your head there. What do you think?
I was actually, that's what Al always says. You know what I mean? About when your team wins, you kind of destroy stuff.
Yes.
I don't know why that is. But getting back to the matter at hand.
Are they overhyping it?
Yeah, they're definitely overhyping it, and everyone's buying in. I say it 100 times, but nobody wants to listen. 10% of the content is made up, or I'm sorry, 90% of the content is made up by 10% of the people on the internet. This number is way lower, and we're still talking about it. I think these individuals that are protesting, and listen, they might have a dog in the fight, they might not, but I think it's selfish of them, and I think they're doing it for social credit on their own behalf. I don't know what they believe in or what, but I know they've gone to these college campuses, they interviewed these kids, and they don't even know what river or sea they're talking about. Right. I think they're stuck on the fact that it's about oppressor, oppressee, and they're getting their heads wrapped around that, and the people who are going that distance to getting arrested are being selfish for some sort of social credit. That's my opinion on it.
Okay, according to what Jeff was saying here, 8% of those surveyed have actually participated in either side. Comparison there, Al, 46% of college students were involved in the student strike of 1970 protesting the Vietnam War. So 8% to 46 is a large decrease. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's a decrease, and we have to, let's just take the Vietnam thing and put it aside. That's a complete red herring.
Non-equivalency?
Absolutely, because Vietnam, it was going to involve the actual students. If you were going to have to go to Vietnam, Steph, Jeff, myself, we'd be a lot more invested in whether that war continued or not. So when it doesn't directly affect you, there's going to be less people involved. So when they compare those two things, I don't think that's a fair comparison. Now, getting back to what we're talking about, I agree with Bill when he said that these protests are being overhyped by the media, because every headline you read is, if we get into it, it's Al Jackson destroys Jeff Schroeder, Stephanie claps back. You have to have headlines like that. But as a person that seeks to inform themselves, you have to realize that those headlines are meant to grab your attention and may not be what you're exactly looking for. You should find articles that have a little bit more banal headlines and then read those, because those are more likely to contain more information. As it pertains to the Gaza situation, I will say this feeds into a narrative, and Jeff, we talked about this off camera last week, about narratives that are already built in. When you talk about college students, people tend to dismiss them.
Yes.
I felt like on this panel there were times where people were saying, well, they just know this from TikTok. This is something that's very close to people's heart.
Yes.
And their minds on both sides. And, you know, the fact that people are willing to be arrested for it does show you such. There's not going to be as many protesters, but I think when we look at the news, we need to be smart about how we look at it and understand that they're telling you that there are protests going on, that some are violent, some people are being arrested, but they never talk about why they're protesting. And I think that's the much more difficult conversation that the news doesn't want to get into because of the unpleasant, that's the wrong word, because of
the complications,
the murder and death and everything that is happening over there. So I think the easier headline that feeds in the narrative that college students are wild and they just kind of jump on anything and they don't really know much is easier to feed into, and it's easier, especially for probably an older readership.
That's fair. In Britain, the tabloids and the headlines are so out of control. Are you discerning no matter what when you read a headline because of that?
I wouldn't say I'm totally discerning. I do think this is a prime example of nothing but clickbait, right? And I think, you know, America is the home of the free speech, and it is the way, if you want to protest, you can. But this is a tale as old as time. I mean, students, like we said, I mean, obviously, yes, Vietnam was extremely different, but I think this is like, we're used to seeing students protesting and standing up for whatever they believe in. And when you actually look at some of the police images of where there was a bit more brutality and violence in the streets versus here, I mean, like when you compare this
right to the peaceful
to the actual event where they're walking out on Jerry speaking, it's completely different. They're very calm and people are actually applauding them and they're waving their flag and off they go.
Right.
So I feel like this is definitely portraying it to be a very different scenario.
And it's so weird, you know, in this country, we really do say that you can stand up for what you believe in and, you know, protest for what you're against. But when people exercise those rights, it's kind of considered like rude or dismissive, or it's not greeted with the, wow, look at these people exercising their rights as citizens. Like you say all the time, Jeff, a lot of countries you can't do that. A lot of countries you speak out against the government and your family disappears. So I think that's to be applauded. That you can do that. You can speak out against the president and not worry about your life being taken. That's a big deal.
That's what's great in America, right? The freedom of speech. I'm all for that. But when you don't know what you're talking about and you're pushing an agenda and causing violence, I'm using LGBTQ as an example here. There's signs that say queers for Palestine, LGBTQ for Palestine. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means if you were to be openly gay over there? What would happen to you?
Yeah.
It doesn't equate in my brain some of this rhetoric that we're just spewing to try to support a cause, but you don't even know what you're supporting. They would.
Ignorant
Look
protests.
it up.
Ignorant protests are a protest. I just want to say quickly, though, some of these protests, and many of them I completely disagree with, right? But some of these protests have led to actual change, right? Like Brown, Northwestern, they're now voting on whether to deal with certain companies. So I wouldn't be too quick to dismiss a protest, even though it's much smaller, because I do think college students are the front part of a catalyst of when social justice changed. The sit-ins for civil rights, women's suffragette movement came from a small group of people. And I don't think you can dismiss that, but I do think you can write about what's actually happening. A lot of outside agitators that don't know what they're talking about taking over, which is somewhat of a peaceful protest in many ways. Now, when it gets out of control, get them out of there, I understand. But don't deny and underestimate the power of dissent of college students. They have forever shifted the social justice of this country.
I will say something and push back a little bit, even though we don't have any time, about the ignorant protest. There have been people that have been pushing for change in a two-party state in Palestine for a long, long time. I was listening to a Mos Def and Talib Kweli song this weekend. The song's 22 years old, and they were talking about it.
Yeah.
This is something that's been going on for a long time, and just people just want no murder and for people to have a chance to live a life.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it comes down to.
But you can say that on both sides. It's hard. You could say that on both sides. Anyway, coming up on DBL, we're talking all about Tom Brady honoring his exes for Mother's Day, just days after the Netflix roast drama. And our interview with Real Housewife of New Jersey, Dolores Catania. She's dishing on the show's newest season.
I'm your mama, a giving queen, giving drama. This place gave you cone heads. It's 11:30. Go to bed. Who's your favorite fun?
That was Welcome to DBL. That was Maya Rudolph showing us all who's mother on SNL over the weekend. Here are some other stars that celebrated Mother's Day. We had Katy Perry, throwback photos of her pregnancy with her daughter Daisy Dove, and wished all mothers and caretakers a happy Mother's Day. Gabrielle Union, posted a video with her daughter and also posted a photo with husband Dwayne Wade and his kids. Tori Spelling seems to have buried the hatchet with her mom Candy. She posted these old photos with mom, interesting, and thanked her for teaching her strength and resilience and how to spot a fake purse. John Travolta remembered his wife Kelly Preston, who passed away in 2020. I loved her. Travis Barker, he always does this. He went all out to Kourtney Kardashian, celebrating her, who gave birth to their son Rocky in November. She posted this video showing her house completely enveloped by pink and white roses from Trav. This happens every year. We get it. I'm over it. Van Hunt
That would happen to me if I forget to set the quantity for flowers you ordered. It's like, I ordered 126. Okay.
Van Hunt celebrated his girlfriend and mother of two, Halle Berry, by posting, this cheeky little nude photo of her. And of course, Tom Brady did, I think, what we call damage control on Mother's Day. He honored all the moms in his life, including his own mom, as well as the mothers of his kids, Bridget Moynihan and his ex, Giselle. This comes after a week of the roast where both women were caught in the crossfire of some of his jokes. Was this damage control by Brady? What do you think, Steph?
Oh, absolutely. Looks so bloody yes. I mean, after the roast, I think he needed to do a bit of smoothing over. Whether or not a little picture and a caption on Instagram will do it, I do not know. But I'm sure he is very much sucked up to them afterwards.
What do you guys think about the Halle Berry picture? Should you ever have to blur out a Mother's Day picture, Jeff?
We had to. I don't think it was blurred, but we had to.
Tamale, isn't she? I mean.
Oh, no one's doubting that. It's just like it's Mother's Day. Is that, I mean, I guess. I just thought that was a little weird, but I did, weirdly, I thought about Jeff this weekend. First of all, shout out to all the moms out there. It's my mom's 1-year anniversary as well on Mother's Day. So
yes!
That was really cool.
Lots of love.
Montez.
Yeah, shout out to Montez. I was in Target yesterday, and I had a ton of stuff, and there was just one woman with 2 cards, like just behind me. I was like, oh, you can go ahead of me. And she goes, oh, thank you. I really blew it this year. And she had a grandmother and mother. It was like 5:30. But it like really made me smile. Like she was just like, I really blew it this year. It was like a very personal thing.
I think Halle Berry shows that a mom can be super sexy.
Yes.
Or is it inappropriate? What did you think about that?
I'm not. I usually dance around this stuff. I'm not for that. You know what I mean? It's not me. My wife would never do something like that. But go for it. You're beautiful. You're Halle Berry. Do whatever you want. You know
What's
what I
her
mean?
name?
I don't know. I always pronounce it wrong. Is it Halle Berry?
It goes Halle Berry.
I had to pronounce it wrong?
Yeah, Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Halle.
Hallie?
Halle.
Wait, I have to say it like 10 times in another show. So
Okay.
Yeah, but so I don't know. That's just not my style.
That's
so
fair.
whatever.
That's
Do you,
great.
boo.
How did you celebrate Jordan?
You know what? I didn't post anything because I was going through Instagram, just scrolling, and I was like, everyone's just posting these corny posts to show how great it is. I FaceTimed my mom. She was at my brother's house. We had a great time. Me and Jordan were like, should we go out? We had a long week, a busy weekend with sports and the kids. She's like, order in. We got some sushi, just packed the house full of food.
Amazing.
Just had a good Mother's Day, but I don't need to I don't know. I feel like oversharing, even though I share all the time on a show and podcasts and things like that. Yeah. I just was like, I don't need to write that corny thing or show my wife's butt hanging out over the balcony. It just, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's true, but Jordan has a cute little tush. It's true. Coming up on DBL, we're talking Dolores Catania, all about the drama on the latest season of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Welcome back. We all know that the Real Housewives of New Jersey never have a shortage of drama. Earlier, we spoke with Dolores Catania all about the new season. Ooh, take a look. Let's give her a warm welcome, Dolores Catania.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Hey, Dolores. Okay, girl. So I am a huge Bravoholic, and I heard that this season.
Thank you.
Yes, child. I'm always there. BravoCon, the whole thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So I heard that this season, the dynamic between Teresa and Melissa has become even more complicated while filming. Don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah.
But how is it working around all of that? Because you're Switzerland.
Yes, so I try anyway. However, it was a little bit easier, believe it or not, to not have them fighting. They stayed away from each other. They didn't speak. When they did, it wasn't easy. But for the most part, there was a lot less of them together than there ever has been, which was a better, I just less anxiety for everyone.
I've always wanted to ask this because, this is going to be one of the most dramatic seasons ever. And I want to know what it's like behind the scenes, because we have the heated conversations up here, but then afterwards we'll talk it out. Like, how is that once you guys have
Sometimes.
we kind of have to. We work together. So how does that work?
Sometimes it's more heated behind the scenes.
Yeah. Wow.
Can you imagine? Yes, it's certainly more heated. So you just kind of have to, me personally, I know sometimes you have to let friends vent on you. They're not happy with something that you did or didn't do. And as a friend, a true friend, I know when to let them take it out on me, but not too much. Sometimes I put my foot down, but a lot happens when those cameras go down. It's kind of worse than even what you see.
Wow. I can imagine. So this season is focusing a lot on your relationship with your boyfriend, Paul. Does it ever get overwhelming having so many opinions on your life and your love life?
Oh, it is. It does. I have thick skin. I had to have thick skin to last on the show 8 years, but it doesn't define how I make my decisions. I always said that the decisions that I make in my life are going to be based on me and not a popular opinion or an unpopular opinion. I can't live like that.
Speaking of people weighing in on your life, a lot of people still question your close relationship with your ex-husband, Frank. You call him your best friend, but let's be honest. Can you really be best friends with your ex?
Yes, you can,
All
and
right.
it's so much easier that way.
I'd rather have a delicious sandwich.
Who knows you better than that person? And if it can work out that way, then you let it work out that way, especially when there's kids involved.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Now, you've shared...
They're very happy kids, so
That's good.
That was my goal.
It's a good team effort. You've shared a ton about your personal fitness journey, including Manjaro, and I wanted to have you have the floor and say, what's something you think everyone should know before they get on weight loss drugs? We talk a lot about it on this show.
What you should know is, number one, consult with a doctor first and foremost. It is not for everybody. The second thing is, there's no easy fix. It's a lifestyle change. There is no diet. It's called a lifestyle. I work out harder than I ever have, and I hate it. Did I just eat a grilled cheese sandwich? Yes, I did. Did I have a Diet Coke? Yes, I did. But I didn't eat the whole thing. The thing with Manjaro is it helps you with portion control. And I think a lot of the things in this around us or in this country is portion control. When I travel to Europe, people eat like a little thing. They eat so little. If you could just try to cut down your portions, eat half of what's on your plate, let's start there.
Agreed.
Great tip. Yep. I know. Thank you for your transparency. Dolores, thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome, and thank you. It was so nice to see you all.
To our audience, you can catch season 14 of Real Housewives of New Jersey Sundays on Bravo and Mondays on Peacock. Thank you again, Dolores. We'll be right back.
Get a milkshake. Welcome back. Want to have whiter teeth but don't want to deal with the messy strips or sensitivity that goes with it? Well, you're in luck. The brand that brought you Power Whitening Gel has created new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power. Effective tooth whitening can be achieved at home by simply adding the Pro Whitening Gel right to your toothpaste every time you brush. No change to your routine, no extra time or effort needed. In a clinical study, users saw an improvement of up to 8 shades after using the gel for 30 days. Smile Actives is safe, effective, and will work even on crowns, bonding, and dentures. Order today for a special buy one, get one free offer. Do not wait for your brighter, whiter smile. Call 1-800-700-4040 or visit smileactives.com today. Now, before we go, how many of you got a chance to check out the Northern Lights this weekend? Okay, wow. Across large parts of the country, millions of people got to experience the Aurora Borealis. It's a stunning nighttime spectacle of pink and green lights, and it was visible as far south as Alabama, Georgia, and even Florida. It was all thanks to a series of solar flares on the sun last week. If you didn't know, a geomagnetic storm occurred, and you could see these sort of corneal eruptions, and that caused us to be able to see them.
AKA the end of the world.
It is getting a little scary.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Was it here? Because I did not see this.
I went outside at 3 in the morning.
You saw it?
No, she does that every night.
Just walk out there and look at the sky.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that.
No, I didn't see anything, but none of you did?
No,
I definitely didn't sleep at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I didn't this weekend, but I've been up to Canada north a little bit, and you could see them, faintly because we're in the woods. It's really pretty. Not as pretty as those pictures I saw, but yeah, it gets really pretty.
That's a goal of mine to see the Northern Lights. Look at that.
I mean, that's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No. Nope.